What happens when a Sigma male becomes a dad? The Sigma father's approach to raising independent, strong kids. Have you ever wondered what happens when the lone wolf, the mysterious and independent Sigma male, suddenly becomes a dad? No, it's not just about changing diapers or midnight feedings. I'm talking about the long game. How these guys who have always done things their way are now in charge of shaping tiny humans. These men have carved out a path in life by standing apart from the crowd, and now they're responsible for molding minds. But the question is, do they turn into the cool, laid-back dads with all the answers, or are they more like distant uncles who show up once a year with expensive gifts? Fatherhood is an entirely different beast, and it's not an easy one to figure out. Does it soften their edges? Does it change the Sigma's nature that makes them who they are? As with everything involving Sigma males, the answer is not simple. But let's take a deeper dive into what happens when a Sigma male becomes a dad. 1. He encourages independence but leaves the door always open. Most parents walk a tightrope when it comes to raising their kids, balancing between being overprotective and letting them go. Many hover anxiously, trying to micromanage every decision, from school choices to their friends. This leads to kids who often struggle when it comes to making decisions on their own or handling challenges when they eventually step into the real world. The Sigma dad? He's a little different. He's all about encouraging his kids to be independent, but there's always a safety net. Think of him as the cool lifeguard at the pool of life. He's not jumping in every time his kid takes a gulp of water, but he's always watching, ready to swoop in if things go south. Real growth happens outside the comfort zone, and that's something the Sigma male understands. If his child wants to start a lemonade stand, he'll help brainstorm ideas but won't step in to manage the business. When it comes time to choose a new hobby or activity, he'll discuss the options, listen to his kids' thoughts, and let them make the decision. He knows that the biggest lesson often comes from failure, and sometimes letting your kids experience a setback is more valuable than stepping in to fix it. At the same time, the Sigma male makes it crystal clear that he's always there. He's not abandoning them to the chaos of life, but giving them the confidence to try things on their own. He's creating a sense of trust, a safety net, ready to catch them when they need it, but allowing them to fail if necessary for their own growth. 2. He teaches kids to question everything, even him. Some dads make rules and expect their kids to follow them without ever asking why. They use the old "because I said so" line, leaving little room for discussion. This kind of parenting breeds obedience but often fails to teach kids how to think critically or understand the reasons behind decisions. It creates a generation of followers, not independent thinkers. The Sigma dad, however, encourages his kids to question everything. Why does this rule exist? What's the logic behind it? When his child asks why, he takes the time to explain. He'll break things down like explaining a complicated chess move, and when he doesn't have a good reason, he'll admit it. Imagine a dad who's not afraid to say, "You know what, I might be wrong here." Dinner conversations at his house aren't just about food, they turn into full-on debates. He's not threatened when his kids challenge him. In fact, he's secretly proud of their ability to back up their arguments with logic and reason. He's not raising little robots who follow orders, he's raising thinkers. Sometimes this makes things harder for him as a parent. His kids might push boundaries or ask difficult questions, but this is a dad who's not looking for the easy road. He's preparing his children for a world that's full of gray areas, not black and white. Sure, it might make life a bit messier in the short term, but in the long run, this approach is invaluable. He's teaching them how to navigate life with confidence, how to stand up for themselves, and how to find their own voice, even if it means challenging him along the way. This isn't just about raising little versions of himself, it's about giving his kids the tools to create their own path. 3. He connects through shared hobbies, not forced family time. Many families try to schedule quality time through awkward game nights or mandatory Sunday dinners. But let's be real, this often results in eye-rolling teens and forced interactions that feel more like chores than bonding. The Sigma Dad doesn't try to force things. He knows that real connection happens organically through shared interests and experiences. Instead of planning a family day, he invites his kids into his world. If he loves woodworking, he'll have his daughter join him in the garage to sand and stain some pieces. If his son is into video games, he'll ask to play alongside him, not pretending to care, but genuinely wanting to learn what his kid is so passionate about. These moments aren't just about bonding, they're opportunities for meaningful conversations, often about everything from school drama to the bigger questions about life, love, and the future. They don't need to be formal talks or sit-downs. As they work side by side, these discussions flow naturally, allowing both sides to open up without pressure. He also encourages his kids to teach him new things. If his kids are up to date on the latest tech trends or social media apps, he's more than happy to let them explain. This role reversal not only builds his kids' confidence, but reinforces that learning is a two-way street. These shared hobbies become inside jokes, personal memories, and a kind of family language that continues even when they outgrow the traditional family nights. It's not about forced closeness, it's about making room for it through authentic shared experience. 4. He lets his kids fight their own battles at the playground. Many parents rush in at the first sign of trouble at the playground, breaking up fights, soothing hurt feelings, or solving every problem that arises. Their instinct is to protect their children from any discomfort, but this constant intervention can unintentionally keep kids from learning how to solve problems and manage conflicts on their own. The Sigma Dad takes a different approach. He stands back and watches from a distance. If his kids are having a disagreement or facing a challenge, he's not immediately jumping in to fix it. He knows that the playground is a mini version of the real world, a space where kids learn to stand up for themselves, negotiate, and resolve conflicts. The Sigma male understands that conflict resolution is a skill that can't be taught through lectures or commands. It has to be learned through experience. While other parents might rush in to smooth things over, he's letting his kids figure it out for themselves, giving them the space to develop essential life skills. Of course, if things get truly out of hand, he's there to step in, but he's not running interference for every little squabble. It's tough at times. Watching your kids struggle is never easy, but it's necessary for their growth. By letting them fight their own battles, he's preparing them for the challenges they will face in life. 5. He leads by example, not authority. Traditionally, dads often rely on their authority to get things done, barking orders, setting rules, and expecting compliance. But this approach can breed resentment, especially when kids realize that their parents don't always practice what they preach. The Sigma Dad leads differently. He doesn't have to rely on authority because he's already living the example. He doesn't talk about hard work. He gets up early and stays up late, working on his goals. He doesn't preach about kindness. He treats everyone from the CEO to the janitor with the same respect and compassion. If he wants his kids to read more, he'll always get a book in his hands. If he wants to teach them the value of fitness, he's at the gym regularly, setting a standard through his actions. Kids are always watching, and the Sigma male knows this. By being the person he hopes his children will become, he sets them up for success without having to lay down a bunch of rules. It's not about being perfect. Sigma males are human too, but when they do make mistakes, they own up to them, apologize, and show their kids how to make things right. This teaches kids the value of accountability, responsibility, and humility, lessons they can't get from lectures. 6. He teaches kids to read people, not just books. In today's world, many parents focus intensely on academic success, with grades and test scores becoming the ultimate measure of success. But the Sigma male knows that academic achievement is only one piece of the puzzle. He teaches his kids something far more valuable: the art of reading people. Whether at a family outing or while interacting with strangers, he's constantly pointing out subtle cues like body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. He encourages his kids to think about why people act the way they do, to put themselves in someone else's shoes, and to understand emotions and motivations. It's not about finding a right answer, but developing empathy and understanding. These lessons in emotional intelligence are just as important, if not more so, than the lessons learned from textbooks. The Sigma male is giving his kids a superpower, the ability to read a room, adapt the communication style, and connect with people on a deeper level. 7. He treats his kids like adults in training, not babies. The Sigma dad sees his children as people, not as projects. He doesn't talk down to them. Instead, he treats them as adults in training, giving them the tools they need to succeed in life. Whether they're 5 or 15, he's encouraging them to think critically, take responsibility, and make decisions. If he's planning a family vacation, he'll ask his kids for their opinions, he'll explain how budgeting works, what the decision-making process looks like, and why it's important to consider everyone's needs. These are life lessons they'll carry with them far beyond childhood. Instead of protecting them from adult problems, he's involving them in them. When they make mistakes, he helps them learn, but he never coddles them. His goal is to prepare them for a world by showing them that they are capable of handling anything that comes their way. By the time they leave home, they'll be self-sufficient and ready to tackle life's challenges. Becoming a father doesn't change the Sigma male. It enhances the best parts of who he already is. The quiet, independent man becomes the calm, steady force in his children's lives. He doesn't try to force them into a mold. Instead, he teaches them how to carve out their own path, whether it's through encouraging independence, teaching them emotional intelligence, or leading by example. The Sigma dad is shaping his kids into resilient, confident individuals. He might not be the typical dad, but that's exactly why his children are going to turn out great. He's not raising followers, he's raising future leaders, and in doing so, he's living proof that fatherhood does not mean losing yourself. It means becoming even more of who you already are.